Today we have this Quest Internet Wi-Fi router. That's right, right off the bat. If you guys take the antenna off and we get down in there, you guys are gonna see gold in that barrel connector, along with the nut, and even the washer is gold plated, and it's going to correspond into the antenna as well. So I tell you guys what, let's crack this sucker open and see how much gold is inside. So we have the base. That's going to be a little bit of plastic, and unfortunately there's not much you can do to get away from the plastic in nowadays electronics. But I tell you what, routers are a really good source of free gold. They are. When I see one, I will stop and I will pick it up. It drives everybody nuts in my family, but hey, they don't mind me getting the free gold. And so we're looking around to see if there's any kind of access point, because for a majority, there's really not going to be, and in fact, you're just going to need to get in it to win it. All right, so we took the screws out, but I still think it was more fun my way, but hey, whatever. So we got a little bit of low-grade wire. It's going to go in your number 2 wire, whatever goes into your yard for your deal. And I don't know why it goes into that tube, but we're just going to leave it hanging out here like this. Again, so you're going to take that board out right here, easy, pretty peasy, and what are you going to be left with? You're going to be left with plastic, not copper. Got copper on the brain, but hey, don't forget your gold in here. I have done it so many times where I have gotten excited, got through the video, went back through my garbage, and realized that I have left something behind. So yeah, you guys don't want this stuff flying around your shop. Take a minute and get that all off of there, because I tell you what, that right there is one heck of a nice score of a gold-plated material. Absolutely, you don't want to pass that up. This is your scrapper's paradise right here. This is the stuff everybody is looking for. And I know a lot of people are going to say it's brass, but you bet your brass it's not brass. It is absolutely a fine specimen of gold plating right there. And so then we just get rid of the plastic. There's nothing you can do about it. A lot of people ask, and you may actually be able to recycle this, but I don't think the ABS is recyclable, at least not in my area for sure. I know that for a fact. Other areas, it may have changed. In fact, some places have incentivized recycling. So what else are we going to have? Well, if you look at the board, we're actually going to have quite a bit of activities. If we're going to start right off the bat, we're going to remove all these capacitors right here, because I don't want them in my easy bake oven, because I will process this through my oven, because you put it through a heat process, and you will find that all this surface mount material will come off. But I'll show you guys how to do it if you don't have that process available to you, or if you don't want to handle the smell, because it can be a little stinky. You don't really want to be doing it at your stove at home. Trust me, the wife will not appreciate it. She will not. Nor will the rest of your family members. So you get those guys off of there. They will pop in your easy bake oven, and we don't want that. But what else are we going to have? Well, you're going to have your silver crystal oscillators. Let's get down in here on this guy and start depopulating it. So these silver crystal oscillators are going to be readily identifiable. A lot of people know them. You see them, and in fact, it's what starts people on the e-waste journey. A lot of this does. I know a lot of people see the gold, but you see these silver crystal oscillators everywhere. They come in all shapes, sizes, and orientations, and they are very readily identifiable. But I tell you guys what, if you've ever tried to get into one of them, you'll understand why there's not very many videos on how to get into them, but they're interesting. Nonetheless, they have silver in them, and we keep them. And if you guys want to see what's inside of one of them, why don't you guys head over to the Sega video after this video, not before, and check it out. We actually get a large one that we can take apart. So what else are we going to have? Well, you're going to have your little bit of copper-bearing material right here in this guy. And a lot of your material will just end up just cracking right off of there. And it's very thin. There's not much in there, but if you want to get to that, you whack and do it with a hammer. This ferrite will come off of there, and you can unspool the toilet paper of death right there. And it'll go, and you'll have a little bit of wire in there. What do you do with that ferrite on the outside? Well, that's magnetic, so you don't get rid of that. You put that in your scrap steel pile. And then again, it's just going to be rinse and repeat. With these guys, you'll get your favorite screwdriver. Again, if you quit losing it all over the shop, and you get underneath of those guys right there, and you give it a little wiggle waggle, and they will pop right up. And you do it to the green one as well. But if you get in here with your favorite pair of pliers, you should be able to manipulate that guy, pull them off, and then it takes a little finagle, but hey, you fold up those little pins right there. There they are. Fold those guys up. As long as you don't hit your camera or your friend while you're doing it, you're doing okay. And now you can go and you can get underneath of there again. Like I said, it's a little fiddly, but hey, it is absolutely free gold. And in that moment that I'm able to get this free gold out from underneath of these pins, you guys could be doing it too. So I tell you guys what, if you're learning anything new or you're having fun hanging out, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. A lot of people do, not because they don't want to and not because they're trying to be mean, they just forget it exists right there along with the like button. You know, people forget that YouTube is put on by creators and not by big corporations. We all, you know, it's easy to see us put on these 10 and 20 minute videos, but hey, for all you creators out there, man, hats off to you guys, because we all work very hard to put these videos on. And if not, if we didn't put these videos on, who's going to show you guys how to get free gold out of your everyday electronics without necessarily particularly hurting yourself? I'm sure there's millions of people out there, but hey, you guys enjoy hanging out with Scrooge. So these are little shorter pins right here, but they're going to be the same concept. So then what do? Well, you take your little nippers and you flush cut as close to the board as you can. You don't want to give up any of that free gold, because that is just about the easiest free gold you can ever come across. I don't care if you're a miner, or you know, you go out and you do hard rock mining, or you do any kind of gold panning or anything like that. In the few minutes that we took to get this router taken apart, we have effectively found more gold in this one router than you would in the same amount of time or the same amount of dirt out of the ground. E-waste does have more gold in it per ton than any dirt you will ever find in the ground anymore. That's an unfortunate fact of mining and reaping the benefits of mineral mining in the world. Here's going to be a glass barrel diode. That was my rant. And this guy potentially has some gold inside of it. The more I come across the diodes, the more I realize that there is some potential for some goodies to be had inside there. And diodes work a lot like your LEDs. LEDs were, in fact, what are they? They're light emitting diodes. I've been trying to capture it on camera the last few times for you guys, but it sure is pretty hard to do. But there you go. Now you can see by my big dry thumb there that gold bond wire inside of that LED. And in fact, there's two of them in there. If you look, there's one that shoots off to the right, and there's one that shoots off to the left. So for sure, now there's two gold bond wires in that one. So that's double your fun right there. And there also is going to be some more LEDs right there. These are a different fashion, but hey, they do have a little bit of gold inside of them. For sure they do, and they're all over the board, not just for light, but if they need to reduce the amount of electricity or electrical current running through a particular direction, they will use those to suck some of the electricity up from that current. And you're going to see these gold pins here. They're going to be very light, but they're there, and we will take them off. And now people ask me how I get these going. Well, I basically take my little nippers and I get underneath there and I leverage those little plastic pieces that are surrounding these pins. I get underneath there and I leverage them up, and they will slide up and they'll slide off of those pins just nice, so that then you can get as close as you can to the board to get these gold pins off of there. So we're going to continue to get these pins. You don't want to lose them. You don't want to waste your time, because yeah, it just took you a second to get them off of there. And if you just start flinging them across the shop all willy-nilly, you're going to lose all your gold. And you don't want to do that. That's not what we're all about. So again, I don't know what else. Let's find out what else is on the board. So you're going to have your gold corner BGA. And for all you new guys, The hidden gold inside of this is going to be an epoxy glob. I know you're going to take that whole thing off. If you take a wood chisel and you go tap, 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 this whole green piece will come off along with this epoxy blob. But a BGA stands for ball grid array, and it has a bunch of balls underneath there that represent gold bond wires that go to the center of a die in this chip. So this is where all your hidden gold is. And I tell you guys what, you're bang for your buck. This is going to be one of your best gold supplies you're going to come across readily. Next to this guy, everybody calls them a little differently. Flat packs, four-sided ICs, whatever you want to call them, whatever you name them, they're going to have 1, 2, 10, 100. Every one of these legs represents a gold bond wire that goes to the center of that die. So again, that is where all of your hidden gold is going to be. And here is a very prime example of what I'm talking about. You see every individual little wire that comes into the bottom of this BGA right here is actually going to be gold plated. That's right. And so all these wires run in underneath of here and they go to that die. So that is a beautiful example of what a BGA looks like underneath of it. I don't know if they consider this a BGA or an IC chip. I have no idea. I call it gold either way. Alright, everybody wants to see one of these BGAs removed. There's a reason why I use the carpet. It holds your thing in place. And if you just give her a good wackadoo like that, they come right up. But yeah, I shake the whole world when I do that. That's why I normally don't do them on camera. But there's your BGA. That's the ball grid array I was talking about. And now again, you have this guy here, and everybody's like, yeah, you know, free gold and everything. And yeah, they're not wrong. But I tell you what, if you go around every corner and you start trying to break this guy off of there, you'll see that these things have a few hidden secrets and a few little gems inside of them. But the most you're going to want is you're going to want that epoxy blob off the backside of it. And some of them don't want to come off as easy as others. But hey, you get your thumbs around and you start working it back and forth, and eventually it'll go. So you keep working around the corners, and it doesn't take very long. And in fact, people, once you get on a good roll of it, you can get this guy going pretty quick. And now I know there's going to be two parts to this. Now everybody sees this and they start going wild and gaga over that gold. And I tell you what, it's super, super thin. Better men than me have tried to get it off and without measurable success. There's a reason why you see everybody make videos on the green or the gold corner BGAs and you see them do this. But there's a reason why you don't ever see them come back for the second part, and that's because there's really no viable gold in here. You can see it, but it's very, very thin. But I tell you what, if you collect up enough of these, they're gonna have to add up. So yeah, I've seen a few people try to get the gold off of them. We're going to get our hand at them as well. But all your gold is definitely going to be inside of this guy right here. So you're going to want to keep all of this material here, and we save them up along with these that IC chip right there. We're going to get off of there. And now here's that one I was talking about. You can see the gold all underneath of there. And I'm not going to break this bottom part off of here. I don't know exactly what it is. But hey, we're going to put it in our solution. And in turn, it's going to eat all the solder off of there. But that is a beautiful specimen of a BGA. In fact, we're going to keep this guy for future videos for other people who don't know about that yet. So now that leaves us with these guys. These are going to be your film capacitors. So they usually have a mylar film inside of them. If you clip them, either A, they're going to have a little film inside of them, or B, you may be lucky enough to find ones that actually have some silver inside of them, and they'll be MLCCs. But this guy, again, is going to have your film. Now, I know you roll this film out, and there may be something inside of there. I've had a few other scrappers comment on the contents of that. I just have not done any processes myself for these guys. But again, you're going to have the same kind of concept here, where you take your little flush cutters and you nip off on one end and you nip off on the other end, and you'll be able to see down in there that yes, that is going to be just a bunch of mylar inside there that is wrapped around a piece of metal. So what else are we going to have? Well, you're going to have your copper bearing material right there. These little guys right here, you take your little pliers and you snap them off, and they'll come off, and then you take your flush cutters and you nip-a-do the bottoms of them for sure. And I keep forgetting that we're all the way in on the zoom, but hey, there we go. Now you take this guy and you spool them all off, and look at that. There's going to be a beautiful little blob of copper. There's a lot more than what you thought was sitting on there. Absolutely. And so if this is going to be magnetic, which it is, then you send it in with your scrap steel. That's ferrite, that's on there. I don't know where the other one launched to. There it is right there. And look at this guy. This guy's gonna do the same thing. Maybe not as cool, but hey, it's there, and you just peel it off. And if you can get it all going off of there at one time, hey, it's really good to work out your frustration. Or you get even more frustrated with it and you end up chucking it across the shop. But I tell you what, if you hold on to this end while you throw that end, hey, there's the way it ends up. So again, you're gonna have a spool of copper wire that you didn't before. It's there, it exists. I can't make this stuff up. It's just there, and that's gonna be in your scrap steel, and you'll find those guys everywhere. And so you're going to have another one right here. This is another type of a copper, either toroid, capacitor, or transformer, sorry. But either way, it's going to be the same concept. This guy you can wackadoo with your hammer. I know it looks like a little candy necklace, but it's not. Anyways, and that's going to end up shattering, and you're going to get this copper number 2 out of there. And then you're going to be able to have that ferrite for your scrap steel pile. Don't pass those guys up either. I know I talk a lot about gold, but hey, copper is king when it comes to the scrapyards. That's just how this works. And so now down here, if you get down on this board, you're going to have an MLCC. And that's going to be this little brown guy right there. And if we get our chisel in here and we give him a little nudge, we can get him off there. Why? Well, we collect these guys up. There's 2 different kinds of MLCCs. There's a noble variety, and then there's a less noble variety. And now you can tell the difference between the 2 with your magnet. Either A is going to have a really hard stick, or B, it's going to have a light stick and it's going to be able to fall off. And I can feel it wanting to fall off of this magnet. So this is a high-powered magnet, but if you guys want to test your MLCCs and to know if they have platinum or palladium or silver or anything else inside of them, test them with your magnet and see. If they lift up and they barely hold on to the magnet, then they're going to be a noble metal. But for the most part, for your newer or your lower end electronics, they're not going to be very much of anything inside of it. And that guy just went flying across my shop because I set it down with some gusto. But okay, so now you're going to have this guy right here. And this guy usually holds some secrets. They sure do. And wherever my nippers are, there they are. They can't go too far. If you grab the corner of these guys with your nippers and you find a little corner to grab onto and you do it again here, they usually pop off. Now, what is this guy gonna hold in there? Well, there's gonna be another IC style chip, but look right there, that's gonna be ceramic. This guy right here, if I can find my pointer, it's important because I've actually just figured this out over the last few videos. But that is going to be ceramic. And those are going to be a lot like your gold rim ceramic oscillators right there. For a fact, if I can get that cap off, you guys will be able to see it. Let me see if I got one around here. All right, so we got the case off of that guy there. So I don't think there's going to be any gold in the side here. There may be. I know your gold rim oscillators, when you get those guys and you find them, they will in fact have a little bit of gold on the inside of the rim right there for a fact. But this guy doesn't seem to actually have any gold on it like the gold rim oscillator. But if you get down in there, this is for sure going to have some gold inside of that ceramic. So hey, when you see those guys, they are akin to the gold rim. They just don't have any gold around the outside case part. So don't pass them up. Make sure you gingerly take them off of your board when you do. And now if we keep going with this board, you're going to see that you have your little disc capacitors right here. That's right. Everybody calls them M&Ms. And if I can keep one from flying all the way across the room on us, I'll show you what they look like. So here they are right here. And these guys are going to have some silver in them. A lot of your older vintage material will actually have some silver. Some will even have some gold in them. I know a lot of people talk about how they have nothing in them, but I tell you what, I save them up nonetheless because yes, I have been proven wrong, and I have in fact found silver in some of the older vintage material. What are you going to have on the back? Well, unfortunately, the back is not going to have a lot of anything. And what is this guy? Well, they're going to be two, I think they're called Dallas switches. I'm not sure, but they're going to have a bunch of copper spools inside of there, and they're not really worth mucking with. I'm not sure if that's how they worked with the antenna or what it was, but speaking of the antenna, we got to get to that guy. All right, so I brought him over to the vise quick so that we didn't have to muck around. And this is going to be a little metal. I had no idea what it is. It's going to be aluminum for sure. So either that or it's going to be brass. I think it might actually be brass. Either way, we're going to check that out with a file. But this guy's going to slide out, and you absolutely don't want to forget about these antennas. I tend to do it actually quite a bit, and I know I'm a scrapper. I should know better, but I don't actually. I end up forgetting these a lot, and they're really easy to kind of dig into and take apart. They're kind of fun as well, and they're actually going to have a considerable amount of gold. So if we can get this barrel connector out of here, that would be super nice. This plastic's just molded, and you just muck around with it. Usually I don't use my little pliers for this guy, but this is what we have on hand. So let's see if we can't make this a little easier for everybody in the process. So if you just bend this guy out, it should pop right off. And this is going to be a little bit of number 2 wire that actually goes through into this guy. And I'm not sure. I think this is just to block it. There's really nothing very important on there. And if there is, sue me and let me know. But I tell you what, here is going to be that metal pin connector, the other residing part of the barrel connector, and we're going to see if we can actually crack into that. Like I said, I normally just end up dumping these guys into my stock pot and I get rid of them that way, but we may actually be able to open them up. And if not, like I said, all they're going to do is they are going to go into my stock pot. The stock pot is going to eat that base metal away, and you're going to find nothing but a bunch of plastic left there along with some free gold. So in fact, I think that's exactly what's going to happen to this guy, because yeah, you're going to be able to get him off. But hey, for your bang, for your buck, for your time, just chuck this guy into your stock pot there. Or you can put it in your IC chips and burn it that way as well. But you do you, boo-boo. All right, so what do we got here? Well, let's start with the copper and silver material. So we're going to have the little balls of copper. I haven't wackadooed that guy yet, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do that guy there. But we're going to have the MLCCs. There's a couple of examples right there, but they're studded all over the board. And so we're going to have our disc capacitors right here. Those guys all go in their own container, and we will take care of them later. These are the film capacitors. Again, like I said, a lot of my scrap buddies have tons of them, but I have no idea what for because I'm not sure what metal's in there. So you're going to see your tactile switch, and you're going to see your silver crystal oscillators, the tactile switch right there, and even the power inlet right there had some silver plating on the inside of it. So yeah, absolutely, you save that stuff up. You don't pass it up because why? It's for free. So what else do we got here? Well, we're going to start with our LEDs. See the little wobbly guy there? Yeah, you can see down in there, and you can actually see the gold bond wire, and there's 1 and there's 2. So it worked with us today. And again, you're going to see that the gold barrel connector right there. That's what I call them. I don't care what you call them. I call them free gold. And if you get down there even closer, you're going to see that IC or that BGA IC style chip. I have no idea what that guy is. It's like a horse of a different color. But I tell you what, it's a prime example. So we're not going to crack into him like we did here. So this is one of the flat packs or the ICs. I can't remember exactly what one. Looking at it now, it looks like it was in flat pack. So we got that flat pack right there, and that's going to have some copper and some silver and some gold in it, just like these guys over here. And I know you guys are seeing that chip. Yep, that's right. I was able to pop open that chip, and there is the center of the die that all those gold bond wires will connect to if they have them. And if they don't, they still have a ton of silver and are still worth processing. What's not worth processing? I don't know. That guy we still haven't figured out that guy yet. But I tell you what, we will, because there is gold. It's there to be had, and there's got to be a way. And there's the top of that BGA right there, and you're going to see another flat pack. And here is pretty much the star of the show. These are the pins. These are the gold pins that you find. They're nice. They're not solid gold, but they are a nice good plating. So you don't come across them in your everyday electronics unless you're working with Wi-Fi stuff. Normally you come across gold plating like this, and on their own they look pretty darn nice. They sure actually do. You get excited, you're like, hey, there's a bunch of gold pins, until you see those guys. So I tell you guys what, was it worth taking apart a completely random electronic we found in the garbage for free? Well, absolutely. We got to make a cool video. You guys got to learn something new, I hope. And if you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you guys want to see any of my other videos, they'll be up in the corner. So for all my subscribers, thanks a lot for hanging out with me again today. To my wife, I love you. And to my kids, go wash your face.